Brilliant, great. Well, that is super. So hopefully we've got everybody on to the Zoom here now. I just want to say a huge welcome to everybody. I am Claire Gallagher. I'm Head of Membership for Women in Business. And before we start today on our next series of the Worries, Wonders and Wins, we have the amazing Cathy McAleer here with us today. I just want to give you a quick run through as to what we have coming up with Women in Business. Lots happening. So next week, we actually have our next series of Women in Industry events, which is Women in Energy Roundtable. So if anybody is in the energy sector or energy industry or interested in that, please do join us. It's on the 1st of December. We also then have our Online for the Bottom Line webinar, which will be coming up too in December. And that is actually a great opportunity to see how you can utilize online selling to increase your business, increase your sales. So again, if you're interested in that opportunity, please do join us. Our next webinar will be Kind to Your Mind, which is coming in with Sinead Welch there. That's coming in December too. Again, I think we're all really in that mode of stress, and we need to just make sure that we've got ourselves healthy in mind and body, and Sinead will help give us plenty of tips to do that. Our next Worries, Wonders and Wins will be coming up in December now, and that is with Annette Kelly. She's the founder of Little Penny Thoughts, so really looking forward to hearing what Annette has to say. But today we are actually being joined, and if we can get Cathy up here on the screen, which is great. We're joined here to listen to the Worries, Wonders and Wins of Cathy McAleer. Hopefully if we got Cathy here on screen here now soon. There you are, Cathy. So Cathy, you are more than welcome for joining us today. I just want to introduce Cathy here quickly before we get started in an interview. Cathy is Northern Ireland's only female professional boxer. Cathy is a 3-time world champion in karate and kickboxing. She has numerous European, British and Irish titles under her belt there with the karate. And she's actually also a business owner. You're a former general manager of one of the largest health clubs in Northern Ireland, and then decided to make the transition and go out on her own, and has the owner now of MacFit, personal fitness and training business. So a fabulous opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to speaking to you here, Cathy. So
for inviting me on, Claire.
Absolutely delighted. And what we're going to do, we're going to just run through a few questions here with Cathy, and just to find out all about Cathy's worries, wonders and wins and in the interview here. But what we also would love to have is any questions or anything that anybody would maybe want to ask Cathy at the end of the interview or anything. We will absolutely love to hear from everybody here there now. So Cathy, I wanted just to say again, thank you so much for joining us here today. We've so much to talk about, I think, too, which is great.
I think this is worse than doing a fight, Claire. I'm more nervous about this than actually doing my next fight.
Oh, not at all. Nothing to be worried about, honestly. But no, we're just really keen to hear all about, because you have such a fantastic career at the moment, and you know you're getting better and better. You're getting stronger and stronger. And what I want to do though is first of all just take you back a little bit, and maybe we'll start with some of the worries that you've had maybe in your life or your career, or what did you worry about maybe when you were younger, and what did you now realize maybe that you should have worried about then?
When I was younger, Claire, things were so different. I grew up in a household, there was 5 of us. There was 4 girls and 1 boy. I used to worry, was I going to get a shower before I went to school, because we all fought for it. And poor mum, she was in between us all shouting, where's my tie, where's my shoes? So as a very young girl, I always worried about how I was going to fit in, was I going to be good enough? I always compared myself, I suppose, to my siblings. They were all very intelligent, very much into music, into their study, into art. I wasn't. I was the different one in the family. I wanted to go outside and kick a football. I was a wee bit of a tomboy. Wasn't interested really in school as such. I kind of wanted to do my own thing. I couldn't sing a note in my head. They used to laugh. I used to be in the school choir. They used to tell me to mime. And just life was, I suppose, really different back then. You were back in troubled times. There was a lot of troubles. There was a lot of politics. You weren't allowed out in your school uniform because of different areas you were in. And I suppose I always worried about were we going to be safe, what was going to happen. I was so young, I didn't understand that you couldn't go into this area, or you couldn't go into that, whatever your parents explained. At such a young age, I used to panic and think, what's going to happen? Because I was so quiet and shy and timid, and a lot of teachers used to say to my parents, she's very quiet, is she okay? And so I was really quiet and shy as a young kid, Claire, so I always worried, was it going to be good enough? And what was it going to do? And about the troubles, were we going to get through it? And what was going to happen? Was I going to go into the wrong area at the wrong time, or what was going to happen?
And I think you were mentioning to me that was a bit of a turning point for you. You know, whenever you did have that encounter and that sort of change and got you into, you got into sport and you actually got into martial arts.
Yeah, I think it's really what made me, Claire, was at a very young age, one of my sisters was in charge of me. My mum was picking my dad up from work as normal, and she did everything. And my sister said, do you want to go to the local park after school? I said, yeah, not thinking, and I went with her in the school uniform. I got beat up that day, I can remember it, and I remember hiding it, not wanting to come home because I knew I was going to get the one that was blamed for going out in the school uniform. And I remember coming home more nervous coming home than I was about being beat up. And whenever we got home, it was pretty much mum and dad said, what are we going to do with her? She's so timid, she's so quiet, she's so shy. And dad said in the local paper, local karate school in Rosario Youth Club. And so they were going to send me to it, and I said, yeah, I would love to go. And it was a big worry because we got into a club, we got into a group, in the big hall with a guy in a white suit and a black belt. I was in fear. I remember standing at the front door thinking, oh my goodness, where am I going? All these kids running about, they all look like they're having fun. And but I was entering the hall for the first time, and that was a massive turning point for me, was realizing that I needed to be stronger, I needed to be able to defend myself. And probably the biggest thing was the social impact, mixing with other kids, making friends. And this instructor, who's still with me today, has been a massive mentor and a role model. And he basically built self-belief, confidence, discipline, and routine. Basically building like a routine, a daily structure, a weekly structure. You're going to do this. To do this, you're going to get this belt. And the different coloured belts. It's like nearly building into me the school exam system, as in you've got to study. If you work hard enough, you'll get the next colour belt. And it was like a name for me. It gave me something to drive towards and aim towards, and that belt meant like so much to me coming up the exam. I used to worry, I used to fret and panic more so than school exams, because this meant everything to me. And whenever I look back, without that mentor and that push and self-belief and confidence that Terry Boyle instilled into me, I would never be the person I am today.
Fantastic. I know, and I think you know, we sometimes have that one person, isn't it, in your life that really that changes you or puts you on the right direction as to where you go. And to be honest, Cathy, you know, when it comes to martial arts and the sports that you know you started off, were you worried about maybe getting into that, or even the, you know, professional boxing? It is quite a male-dominated sport, you know. Were you worried in any way in that, or did you think that it's the times have changed and, you know, like women are maybe starting to be recognised within that?
Whenever I was very young, it was pretty much all men. It was male-dominant sport, the karate, the kickboxing, to the boxing. It's only been in the recent years it's started to evolve and change, Claire. I was in competition, I was sparring men, I was constantly training with guys. Most of my life I grew up with fellas. Going into the kickboxing gym was predominantly all men. That was a new sport again that Terry introduced me into. And he gave me that push. I said, you can do it too. You're not, you know, it doesn't matter that you're not a fella. And he used to treat me the same. He would put on the gloves, he would spar me, hit me as hard. And then he used to say afterwards, whenever the guys looked at him, well, at least she could take a punch. She hasn't got a glass chin. And he built that inner strength. If I ever showed any like weakness, he would go, what's wrong with you? Do you not want to be the best? It was like whenever you won the Northern Ireland Championships, I used to go skip into the club with this medal in my hand, thinking I was brilliant. And I used to get into the club, and the first thing he would say to me, champion, put your gloves on and we'll see how good you are. And he would knock you back down a few pegs and say, always remember, it's only Belfast, it's only Northern Ireland. You haven't went to England, you haven't went to the world, you haven't went to the Europeans. And he would always build back in that realistic self-belief, as in, yeah, you won, but there's a lot more to come. It was nearly like he was driving out of me what he knew he could achieve out of me. So you got that 5 minutes of glory, and then all of a sudden you were pushed back down to say, now let's see where we're going next. What's next? Forget about that. So you never got above yourself. You're always like put back down. And I think that was brilliant for me in life, because it made me more determined and driven that I wanted to achieve. I wanted to prove that I could do it and I could move on. So absolutely. Yeah, that was it. The male part was hard. I was getting into boxing clubs and the guys wouldn't look at me. They would come past and lift their water bottle and they would even say hello. It was strange times. The guys didn't know why I was in their hall wanting to do a male sport, and I didn't know why they didn't accept me in. And I think with my determination and the love and passion for sport, I just kept turning up. I just kept going back. I thought, they don't talk to me, who cares? I'm doing the skipping, I'm doing the pads. And I just kept showing up, and until that day that I actually get into the ring and had a spar one of the guys, none of them wanted to spar me. And I could see the coach saying, you'll give Cathy a few rounds, or you'll give, and they were going, no. Oh. It was a pride thing. They didn't want to get beat by a woman, and they didn't want their friends and their club to see them hitting a woman either. And then one guy says, yeah, I'll do it. And I actually thanked him and says, thank you so much for doing this. It was like I said, I had to say thanks very much for giving up your time and your pride to get in the ring with me. And me and him get in the ring, we touched gloves, I respected him, he respected me, we gave a good spar, I hit him a good shot, he hit me. And it was that turning point whenever I got out of the ring, the guys actually realised I could fight, I could box, and they started to talk to me. And I thought, that was nearly 4 months before I was accepted. And then whenever they realised she actually can box and she's serious about this, and she gave that guy a good go for his money, this chapter. So they came round and became really good friends, started asking me questions. How do you get fit? How did you do that combination? And I would learn things maybe in the karate and kickboxing you didn't learn in the boxing, different footwork, different movement, and they hadn't seen it before, so they were intrigued and they wanted to know more. And it became easier, but I had to constantly break them barriers down in every sport that I went in, and every sport has been built on, and as you say, Kurt.
Yeah, oh, no, it is absolutely, Cathy. I'm sure it was a worry for you, but you know, you got through it, you got past it, and it's something I think that from all you know, women in business or women in sport, you know, like they sometimes think they're not good enough, or you know, they won't be, and you know, there's so much of that imposter syndrome, you know, that feeds in a lot, but especially whenever you are maybe one female in the gym, and you know, you're really trying to prove yourself. Yeah. It can be difficult. So
a lot of females probably wouldn't have came back if they were new to the sport. They probably wouldn't have came back because they wouldn't have felt self-belonging. We're in the karate, I felt that was my team. I was proud to put on my tracksuit, and that was my club. I felt safe. We're going into another new sport. You're going in, you felt you're not meant to be here. You were an outcast. You shouldn't be in this environment. But because it was built into me from the karate and the kickboxing, I just continued and just went back and went back until they actually realised and accepted me. And now you couldn't be nicer people. Like I've got an amazing team around me at the minute.
Fantastic, great. You know, it's a great support. Like whenever we're looking at a few of the worries, maybe, Cathy, I know that we had mentioned earlier there that you had worked in industry. You're a general manager of a fitness club for was it over 13 years. Then you just decided to give it all up and go out on your own and just start your own business. Were you worried about that, or did you think let's go for it?
Yeah, it was a massive concern because through my youth, basically, I wasn't seen as the intelligent one. I wasn't seen as the one that was going to get a job. My dad used to say, "What are you going to do in sport? How are you going to get a job and kick a ball?" So whenever I went to university, I got my degree. It was a massive achievement in sports marketing. I did a BA honours in. And whenever I came home, I started working for Amazon. I actually worked as a team leader for Amazon.com and learned a lot about customer service, how to treat people, how to work as a team. And I realised whenever I played down ladies Gaelic football, all my teamwork and working with the weakest link to the strongest link and bringing people together and letting people know you're interested and ask them about their day was exact same that I could transfer into the workplace. So whenever I transferred over to Esporta, it was actually a Spanish club, Esporta Health Club I started working. I started off receptionist, made my way up to administrator, assistant manager, and then applied for the general manager post. I was actually Terry Boyle, my karate instructor, that pushed me to do that and says, you should apply for that. Me thinking, I couldn't manage a club. And he sat with me and taught me through the questions, interview technique, interview style, down to the profit and loss of the club, where it was going, where it wasn't going, what was my ideas, what was his ideas. To me, getting in and doing a presentation in front of a number of 50, 60-year-old men in London saying, I'm going to run your club in Belfast and this is what I'm going to do. And I couldn't believe I was actually standing doing it as I was there, because it was something outside my comfort zone, and I thought, wow, can I actually do this? And once I talked the whole way through the presentation, and I thought, yeah, I could do this. I became general manager. And then I realised, loved it. It was brilliant. I learned so much about business. I had 13 departments at her: hairdressers, a bar and restaurant, a swimming pool, a creche, finance team, marketing team, sales team. We were running everything under one roof as one manager. It was a lot of work. We were travelling back and forth to London. You had the Northern Ireland stance where some of the marketing team in England didn't get it. They wanted to put flags up around the Jubilee protest. They wanted the Jubilee weekend. I had always fight Northern Ireland, you can't do this. Northern Ireland, you can't do that. Northern Ireland, your bar shots are different size to the English shots. You were always kind of like fighting against to let them learn about our area. So it was enjoyable. I learned an awful lot, but I always wanted to do something else. I wanted to go on and do something on my own. And as you say, to take that jump was huge. I was thinking company car, pension, salary. I don't have a partner. I live on my own. I've got a property. How am I going to pay for it if it doesn't work? I just turned professional in K1 fighting. I knew I wanted to give my life to fighting. I wanted to be a professional boxer. I knew that was my dream. And I thought, if I don't make the jump, I'll always say, what if? I'll always say, why shouldn't I have done it? So I did. I made the jump with a bit of support from the likes of my mum and Terry saying, go for it, give it a go. And I did. I made the transition, started my own business in my garage, started training a few clients, a couple of karate students, a couple of their parents, and it just spiraled and escalated to me building a studio at the back of the house. I'm actually in it at the present. And then after the first year, the studio became too small, so I built a double extension of the studio. So the studio is actually 3 times what the garage used to be. So it's just expanded, and I've grown with it into Mac Fit, Mac Beauty. I do the beauty, the massage treatments. I train people online, the company's online. From COVID, I've had to adapt again and go online because of the scenario where the lockdown came.
I'm sure that was a worry for you, Cathy, whenever you have your own business like that and, the pandemic hit. But it sounds like as if you were able to transition well.
Yeah, that was the biggest hit. Was clear whenever lockdown happened, it happened overnight, and all of a sudden the karate school closed, the boxes stopped, the studio stopped, and I wasn't used to having so much time on my hands. So I sat one evening and I built an app and I built a website and thought, I'm going to have to do something, and just said to the class, tomorrow I'll teach you a core class. And to teach to a screen was a wee bit surreal. You got no feedback back, everybody's on mute and you're talking to a screen. They loved it. So whenever I realised they actually enjoyed it, then I started building a timetable, kettlebell, boxer size, strength, legs day. So I was teaching 25 classes a week. and my body, I was getting training for my sport, plus they were getting the mental health, they were getting through lockdown, they were staying physically fit. It was helping them with their self-esteem and their own individual health issues. Every plan's different. And I realised this is the way to go. And then a couple of local companies like Herbert Smith and Freehill, Citibank, they came on board. They asked me to train their team. So I ended up training their global team from America to London to Dublin to Belfast office, so I could have 50 to 60 online on their lunch break, give them a great session, de-stress them from work, and then they're going back to work feeling great about themselves, and they're going to do a bit and got a bit of exercise at the same time. So the lockdown really pushed me to drive my business in a new way, and go down another route, as well as keep driving the boxing and my fitness at the same time.
Fantastic. That's brilliant, you know, and I think we have all had our worries there over the past year, and you know, and especially like you know, you started your own business there, it was all going well, and you know, what do we do? And you know, making those ways and means and changes to the business. I think it's vital for everybody at the moment, and it sounds like as if you've transitioned well. Do you think you'll go back, or is everybody missing the personal one-to-one?
Whenever we came out of the first lockdown, some people missed that one-on-one, and coming in for the chat and coming in to say, put me on the scales, where am I? And so they've really done a mixture. Some of the ladies are doing 3 days online, 2 days in the studio, and some of the guys are pretty much similar. So they're enjoying the fact they can get out of bed, they can make a mess, stand in their own living room, and do the 30 minutes of non-stop sweating, go get a shower, and either start work at a computer or go into the office. A lot of them are working from home, but they're really enjoying the handiness of it and realising, well, I don't have to drive, I don't have to get dressed, I can just pull on my shorts and get on with it. So they're really enjoying that, and but they also enjoy coming in and doing the meet and greet and the personal touch too. So I think both of them will continue. I'll continue both sides of it, and I have done. And even if I go away to boxing camp, I'm away today, I fly today to Guildford for a big fight in Sheffield. I teach online, so I do my own training, then I come back to my accommodation. I still teach my clients, so they get the best of both worlds. Even though I'm away, I'm still with them.
Which is fantastic, you know. So all of this lovely technology that we've got. Somebody said to me there the other day, I don't think we could ever, if the pandemic happened maybe 5 years ago, I don't know whether we could have survived, but with so much technology, so much going on at the minute, it's really great to have the opportunity for businesses like yourself to keep going. And you know, like you just took the initiative, build an app, build a website, and you know, let's go, let's do this. So fantastic, Cathy. Absolutely.
Just kind of adapt and change, and I suppose that's the same in my sport. Whenever I'm in the ring, you're adapting and changing quickly to who's in front of you, what the strengths are, what the weaknesses are, and the exact same whenever I run Virgin was being able to adapt and change quickly and go with the flow. If you sit stagnant, you lose out. That's what I found in business and sport. If you sit and do nothing, you lose out. Whereas if you adapt and change quick, then things start to grow and come with you.
Absolutely, that's a good book to have in life and in business, definitely, Cathy. Do you know what we're going to work? We're going to look at our wonders now. I think. Well, I'm going to leave the worries. I think we've done, but you know, with regards to your wonders, this is our next point we're coming up with. Do you have any wonder if, or you know, if I had done that, or any missed opportunities maybe that you might have had in life?
I'm trying to think. I always wondered if maybe I'd got into the boxing at a young age. Obviously, I'm 42 now, so I'm hitting it a wee bit older. I've always wondered if I'd started in the boxing, would things have been different? Because it's more recognised sport, whereas whenever I started in karate and kickboxing, no one would have heard of them. Whenever I won the world title, it wasn't as big a deal as, say, Katie Tiller winning a world title in a boxing event. These other sports just don't get the recognition that some sports do, but the training work just as much and just as hard, as much travel and preparation, sacrifice of food and stuff. So I always wonder, how do we make them other sports get as much recognition as certain sports? And that was something that always stuck with me as a kid, and as a coach, whenever I'm coaching the Northern Ireland team for karate and kickboxing, how do we get them kids and students the recognition they really deserve? And if I had started in boxing, would it have turned it on its head? Would I have been more recognised and then went into the karate and kickboxing? Would it have helped them other sports? I don't know, Claire, but I always wondered if it started off with boxing, would it have a world title and would it be different and then going into the other ones? And that was always a wonder of mine. In terms of business, I always wondered if maybe I came out and been self-employed quicker. I used to work 60, 70 hours a week. I managed 68 staff. My life was that club. That was like my entire life for 13 years. I flew to London, came home basically on the red eye, got home 10 o'clock at night and went back into the club 5:30 in the morning. I loved it. I was passionate about it, but always wondered if I made that jump sooner and not been as nervous about it, what could have happened? Because I absolutely love doing what I'm doing now, and I wish that I'd done it sooner.
That's great. And I think we have so many women in business, and you know, women who have taken that leap from maybe corporate to going out on their own. And I hear that so many times. I wish I had done it sooner, you know. So I don't know, maybe sometimes it could be maybe your belief or maybe your circumstances or different ways of doing it. But what support did you get, you know, if any, you know, for you know, transitioning to your own business?
To be honest, Claire, the only support that I really had was through my mentor, which was my original karate instructor, Terry. I spoke things through with him and spoke through with him. Listen, I've got the house, I've got my bills, I'm on my own. I want to make it a sport. I'm being silly here. What's your thought process? And with Terry being one of the top managers in Danske Bank, and you're going to get the right answer. No, you're crazy, or do or don't do it. And whenever he kind of sat there and he knows me, he knows I'm passionate, he says, you know what, do it. You'll always wonder what if, go for it. And he gave me that wee bit of self-belief and go and do it. You just need someone sometimes to tell you.
Yeah.
Why not? What's the worst going to happen? You're going to turn back and go and apply for another job again? Go and do it. And he kind of sat with me and talked me through it and says, you know, you've got enough finance there to get you through so much, and you don't need to worry about that. By that stage, you've got to be flying high. This is your passion. You don't give boxing a go. I'm always going to say to myself, why didn't I make you do it? So having that mentor behind you and someone that kind of believes in you, it's a wee bit like being in the ring. If your coach isn't behind you, doesn't believe in you, it makes you uncertain in the ring. Whereas if you have that strong team network, everybody believes, everybody's behind you, it kind of gives you that drive on to do what you do best, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And even it's just from looking at, you were saying you're a mentor, you know, it is so, I think, vital, not even just in, you know, business, but also a good friend or somebody, you know, just to lend a hand or an ear, you know, just to ask that question, like, what are we doing? So have you had any other great sort of women or people in your life, really, that you just say, you know, you wonder how amazing are they?
Whenever I look back and everything I came through, the one person stands out is my mum. She was amazing. She had 5 kids. She didn't have a lot of money. She was a childminder. She had us 5 plus she minded 5 kids. So you can imagine my family home. There was 10 of us at one time. And never once did she give 2 seconds for herself. It was either cooking, washing, getting her clothes ready, going to the shop to get us new shoes. I just think she was superwoman. Whenever I look back and think what she did and how she survived and stayed mentally stable and strong was unbelievable. I just kind of look back and go, wow, she got through that, and she got us through them hard times of troubles, as well as finance and everything else that came with family life. Yeah, well.
No, I'm sure she's a wonderful woman, Cathy, and she's probably your biggest fan at the minute.
I don't know about that, Claire. I don't think she probably does enjoy watching the boxing. She probably she feels that she wants to support me, but I'm sure she sits with her hands on her head thinking, oh my God, here we go again. But she knows what I'm passionate about.
Absolutely. And is there anything that you wonder about just really at the minute, you know, even in the world it's at large now, what's happening, or, you know, you're wondering what's next?
Since the pandemic, you know, everybody's wonders are different. Some people are wonder and worry about what's going to happen with COVID, what's going to happen in their business. Can they survive? Are they going to get sick? Have they got elderly parents? I've got elderly parents. My dad's just been through cancer. My mum, she's got diabetes and she's had a couple of mini strokes. So you panic and think, what's going to happen? Are they going to pass someone that has COVID in a shop? Could they get sick? So everybody's got that uncertainty at the minute, and you can't sit and worry and close down, or you just go with it and say, let's go. Like, for example, I'll go and I'll lift mum and I'll get a coffee and I'll bring the coffee with us and I'll drive to the seafront and she feels she's getting a day out. Or I'll bring a DVD, and I've bought an old camper van because I travel with camps and boxing. So I set up a DVD and a TV in the camper van and I drove up Rocky Road and we watched a film. It was like a cinema night, and people loved it, and so did Maureen McGuinness, who's a really good friend of mine. And the three of us are in this small bubble that they're safe, and we just try to make the most of it and try to make the best out of the situation we're in. For me, it's the boxing. Is my career going to happen? Can I pay back my sponsors? It's for women who supported me from the start. They've been amazing. To support a female boxer, Northern Ireland female boxer, and help me through COVID, help finance my travel, help finance this next fight. It's impossible without them. And I obviously want to repay that back. If I don't get the fights or I don't get the wins, then I can't repay back what they're doing for me. So for my worry is, where's my boxing career going? Where's this next fight going? It's in the car park. It's the first ever drive-through boxing night that's ever happened. I'm going to be in the cold.
Fantastic.
I've got to walk to the ring on my own. I usually have a team of 4 or 5 beside me. I've got one person in the corner. That person has to be quick enough to get my gum shield out to tell me what's going on, to put a blanket around me to keep me warm before I get out to the next round. There's so much change and challenge. But it's exciting too at the same time, and I've got I want to say I've got this opportunity. Let's go for it.
And you're saying, when is your next fight? It's the 1st of December. It's coming up soon.
So the 11th of December.
11th of December.
Eurosport Live. You can catch it. It'll be my 5th professional boxing fight, and it's the first ever drive-through boxing event ever to happen. So people will drive up in their cars. They're like 4 in a car. And there'll be a lot of noise and a lot of horns blowing, and it'll be surreal for a boxer. It'll be strange coming out to a car park to fight, but it is what it is, and times are changing, and to be part of that history is also good. To be the first female boxer, the first ever drive-through, is part of my making of my career too, I suppose.
That's brilliant, and especially, you know, for Eurosport to pick it up too. You know, that's a great opportunity, and as we were saying with female athletes in boxing, you know, it's trying to even get that recognition, not only from your peers or from your athletes, but also, you know, the likes of TV sponsorship and things like that. How have you found it?
It's very hard, Claire. A lot of it I've had to do myself. I had to go out and find my own sponsor. I contacted a number of companies. I went in interview with for women in Stormont. They liked what I did. They liked where my history, what came from me helping kids and empowering women, to helping athletes in my gym for mental health and obesity. They're very much behind empowering others. And whenever they realised this is what I do, they came on board, and I couldn't thank them enough. They've been amazing for that.
Brilliant.
And then my manager, I had to go out and find myself a manager, because being the only female in Northern Ireland, it was like, yeah, they were scared. They didn't know whether if they put you on their bill, would people come and watch it. They didn't know whether it was commercially a good idea for them. And that's what I was getting from the local promoters, wasn't, you're a woman. I don't have females on my bill. And I knew I was in the wrong place. I needed to grow fast. My age was ticking over. So I went on Twitter and I tweeted Kelly Maloney, who was originally Frank Maloney that managed Lennox Lewis. And I actually asked her for advice, and says that you were one of the biggest boxing promoters in the world. I would love your help. I need some guidance, where to go, what to do, who to contact. And she tweeted me back and said, here's my number, phone me, and near died. And I phoned her, and from day dot we chatted, and it was like as if we always knew each other. And she said, and I said, do you ever fancy making a comeback to boxing with me, Northern Ireland female fighter? And I couldn't believe I was asking the question myself. Yeah, I was shivering. And then she started laughing, and I said, are you laughing because you want to tell me get lost, or are you laughing because you're interested? and she says it would be really big. And she says, give me 48 hours. So she went away and had to think about it, talked to her daughters about her making come back to boxing as a female, because Kelly, known as Frank Maloney, was massive, and then all of a sudden no one knew her. She'd walk down the street, no one would even say hello, or and her story's surreal. So she came back and she took me on. She says, let's go for it. And that's where my journey in boxing started. Was I built it myself. I built my own manager. I got my own sponsor. I made promoters put me on their shows. And without that drive and push and breaking down the barriers, it wouldn't have happened. And now, thankfully, I have a strong team. I have Kelly Maloney, I have a sports physiologist, does all my testing for my fitness. And I have a great coach, John Edwards, that comes on board. And then, obviously, my mentor, Terry Bourne, who's still in the background, helps me constantly just with getting ready, self-belief, talking about fights, talking about opponents. You can still do it, travel out to Guildford. I used to worry about going to England to spar other females. Will I be okay? How will I feel? What would it be like in a different country? And now I'm doing it and living it, and I realised, you know what? It's actually good. It's exciting.
You're enjoying it. Cathy, it is brilliant, and you know you're the perfect example of somebody that said, if you want something, go and do it yourself.
That's it. Go and do it yourself. Make it happen.
That's it. So no, that's great, Cathy. And do you know what we're on to actually now is probably our next in the worries, the wonders. Now we're into the wins. So I know your career has been absolutely amazing. You've had so many wins, but tell us maybe 3 wins for you, maybe as a child or as an adult, or within, you know, as a professional, you know, and the impact it has had on you and your life.
God, there's probably a few. The main ones obviously is winning the 3 world titles. Claire, as a very young kid, I started off basically as a paper girl, carrying 600 papers on my back around streets, putting them through doors. And it used to pay for my karate, so I used to get 1p a paper. And if I got a leaflet day, I got half-p a leaflet. And I remember I used to carry all 600 at one go because I believed it would make me stronger, fitter, and faster in my sport. No other reason. I just wanted to carry these extra papers. The weight me down. It's too heavy because I wanted to be stronger, fitter, and faster. And I just remember back in them days, always dreaming as a kid of being champion. Always wanted it. Always wanted to be the best could be in the sport. And to win a world title whenever I won it in Serbia, the very first one, it was just like, you couldn't explain it. It was unbelievable. Did it change my life the way I thought it would change my life? Probably not. No. After a week, that goes away, and you're on the new day, and everybody's life evolves and it's forgotten. But my biggest wins would have been winning the 3 world titles, and hopefully for. I did draw for a 4th one in the Ulster Hall, and I waited for 3 years for a rematch and never got it in K1. That was my 3rd sport. And it kind of sticks with me that I never got that opportunity. It was a draw, no one won. I actually said to the referee, fight another round, do another round, and he laughed at me. He said, someone's going to lose. And he said, no, it's a draw. So that's how competitive I am in everything I do. And me and Kelly's aim is to win a 4th world title in a 4th discipline in boxing. And I don't think it's ever been done. So that's the journey I'm on at the minute in terms of sport. In terms of university, we're probably getting to university and getting the 2-1 honours degree in sports marketing. And whenever I phoned up my dad and said I'm going to university, it was like, what are you going to university for? Because he just resembled me as in kicking a ball, as in doing sport. And whenever I said my degree in sport, I think he even laughed even harder and said, how are you going to get a job in sport?
I get a good job in sport.
So whenever I look back and going and doing that and going to Scotland, I studied in Stirling. It was a new experience, obviously travelling. Did a lot of travel with the sports team. Whenever you're going on your own, it's a wee bit different. So that was a big success of mine, was getting my degree, and then kicked off my career, obviously, of managing Virgin Active, the biggest health club in Northern Ireland, with 68 staff. And to do that was probably my 3rd big win, is start my career. I'm a learning of. I learned about teams, or learned about working with people, learned about targets and under pressure and deadlines and presentations, to accountants, corporate guys, COEs and companies, to leadership days. I was presented an award for Club of the Year by Richard Branson. I met Richard Branson, a huge entrepreneur. I have so many stories to her that I could keep you all day. But yeah, they were my three big ones, would be those three word titles, a university degree, and probably managing and winning club of the year for a sport of Belfast.
Fabulous. Big wins, Cathy, honestly. But and it just sort of, I suppose, what we were looking at really, in order, you know, to win in life, you know, sometimes you have to learn the hard way, or you have to take those hits. Is there any like life lessons that you've learned that you want to share?
I suppose the biggest lesson for me was being in the corporate world. Sometimes you work so hard and you give everything and you give your life, and you kind of sometimes forget about family, and you forget about your own personal time and looking after yourself and so on, getting the balance right. And sometimes the work-life balance, I learned, was totally wrong. I believe that making Virgin Active the top health club in Northern Ireland was my goal, and that's why I was here on this earth. And very quickly then I realised it wasn't, and my balance was totally all off ski with, and it was wrong. And I'd had a bit of a break from competing at that stage of the game. I just became a karate world champion, and I kind of broke away and started coaching instead of training myself. I lost my drive, I lost that aim and ambition and routine. And then I came back in, someone said, sure, you were a karate champion, and it was like 6 years ago. And I kind of got that drive back and fired back to prove that I could do it again. So I came back in, got back into routine, got back my work-life balance of sport, healthy eating, and family, plus running the club. And I went back out and won the world titles for a second time, just to nearly prove a point. As in, yeah, but I could do it again. And I think once I got that balance back in my life of eating healthy, training, looking after myself, having time for my family, and spend a lot of time with my mum, taking her to the cinema and whatever, the big dog walks. That's what I love. That's what I'm passionate about. And then my work balance, it all came back together and everything came good. I think people forget and lose themselves sometimes and feel that they have to be work. But at the end of the day, you're just another number and you're dispensable. You'll be replaced tomorrow. And I think people just need to be careful about how they balance it.
That is sound advice, Cathy, and I think at the minute, I think everybody is trying to figure out that work-life balance, especially so many people are working from home. I myself, we're sitting here in my kitchen, and you know,
positive curve people are working from home because they realise they've more time. They've time to get up in the morning. They've time to maybe have breakfast with their family, and they're not having that car travel time of maybe an hour in traffic. And people are starting to walk more. People are out in the roads on bikes that I've ever seen. It's brilliant. So I'm hoping through such a crazy time, people are taking positives out of it too.
Absolutely, and that's what I was going to ask you. Do you see from McFit, from the business side of things, business is booming, so to speak? You know, whenever, you know, in the lockdown and everything, people are wanting to get that exercise in, and you know, maybe change their lifestyle.
I think they've realised that their health is their wealth, basically, and a lot of people maybe didn't go to the gym and didn't do fitness, realised if I'm a wee bit fitter and stronger, I can maybe fight this if we get it. So if we get a chest infection or a cold, if I was stronger and fitter and didn't carry this weight, I could fight through it a lot easier. And people are starting to realise the balance wasn't right. They're spending time with their family, they're at home, they're doing silly things like cleaning out cupboards, they've got time to do stuff. And they're realising this is what I enjoy, this is what life is really about. It's really about having fun, enjoying it, enjoying the moment you're in, and being with the people that you want to be with.
Absolutely. That's great, Cathy. It is. It's good advice for us all, I think. I don't know, I'm awful because I'm sitting in the kitchen. The fridge is too handy. I think I've been eating my way through lockdown at the minute.
That's the hard thing, is the fridge is so close.
It's all in moderation, I think, anyway.
Yeah, a lot of people are baking and cooking because there's so much more time, then they have to eat it. They have to give it away. They have to give it to the neighbours.
That's when you come in now, actually, Cathy.
That's it.
To help us out. But it is great. And, you know, it is just fabulous to hear your journey, you know, all your successes, you know, and the worries and those wonders and those wins that you've had. And, you know, it sounds like as if with this, you know, you've got your new fight and your next fight coming up next month. Like, things are looking up for you, Cathy, and, you know, you're on the path there to bigger and better success.
Yeah, fingers crossed, Claire. This one's on Eurosport. We've had a few calls from Matchroom and boxing. If you know about boxing, that's the main place you want to be. So if we can get this one out of the way, then we can really go on to a couple of bigger fights and title fights. I'm just going in the right direction, and we're doing it with COVID. We're going through, this promoter's put on a drive-through. He's thrown outside the box. He's running a show. He's getting people out of the house. People can go to the fit and enjoy it. And hopefully it'll continue that way.
Brilliant. Oh, that's great, Cathy, honestly. But no, thank you so much for all of your answers there to our probing questions that we had for you. And I want to just even see if we have a few minutes to open it up here to a bit of chat. So anybody who's ever watching here today, if you have any questions for Cathy, for her, from her career, for you know, getting into fitness or into the industry, just drop it here into the chat to the Q&A, and I'm sure we'll be able to ask Cathy those questions. But Cathy, you know, just from your end, after this big fight that's coming up, you know, hopefully the win, what's next for you?
So our aim is basically aiming towards a world title, Claire. So we actually, Kelly will only put out yesterday, she didn't realise that the British Boxing Board wouldn't sanction a British title for a female boxer. So there's another barrier we're coming up against, and Kelly's so fighting for women at the minute, it's brilliant. So it's breaking down them barriers and getting people to realise that men and women are equal and it's just as good, and why shouldn't they go for a British title? Why should it be sanctioned? So our next aim is probably looking for the bigger end fights and maybe looking at British European world title and taking the title, maybe coming back home, and she wants to hold the first ever female boxing bill in Belfast with me headlining it. This is the dream, this is the goal and the aim that we're working towards together as a team, and knowing Kelly, she'll make it happen,
Brilliant. And it just fascinating sometimes to hear sometimes that these barriers or these rules that are in place, you know, and hopefully that's the key is to break that down, and you know, and to say that the women, you know, they can do these things, and especially in these sports that has been dominated so much by men. Maybe men are making all the decisions too, you know, which has been difficult. So, you know, it's getting in there, it's changing minds and attitudes, which it sounds like as if you're doing with Kelly at the minute.
Yeah, in the right place and with the right people. Always surrounding yourself with good people that want change and want success. And that's been key for me in life, is surrounding yourself beside the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just got just a quick one here that's come in. They're saying Katie Taylor is amazing, and it's great to see the support growing for female boxers. Have you met Katie yourself before?
I haven't. I was at Katie's fight in Manchester. Unbelievable athlete, really genuine, lovely girl. She had a lot of time for younger fans. Whenever she gets out of the ring, younger fans will do on posters. She'll go up and she'll basically chat to them, get pictures with them. She's very personable. She fought 2 weekends ago on TV. She put up an amazing performance. She just dominated from the start to the end. Katie's about 3 weight divisions above me, thank God. But she's absolutely a brilliant role model for female boxing, so she is, and she's really kicked it off. And you can just see more and more females coming out, like Terry Harper, Zoe Ball. There's so many. Nicola Adams was a big one for me. She went into retirement. She was on Strictly Come Dancing recently. Don't know whether you watched it. But these ladies have really kicked it off. Back in the day, there was Jane Couch, there was Denise, there was so many ladies didn't get the recognition that they deserved. Back in the day, they were fighting the major barriers, and now all of a sudden, they're broken down through Jane Couch and Katie Taylor, and everybody's now getting the benefit out of it as such. And I've hit boxing at a great time now because it's grown, it's televised, it's commercial, people are buying into it. And it's actually just booming at the minute. It's the right time to hit it. So
absolutely. And you see, even, you know, not only even boxing, you know, women in sport generally, you know, you've hopefully got, you know, like even the football has really, I think, transitioned and recognise women in sport so much. You've got the rugby, you know, netball. There's a lot out there, a lot of good things happening for women in sport.
Yeah, and loads of people are really enjoying watching the football. A lot of comments were going, the skill level, the standard, the speed, the dedication of the females. They're similar to boxing. We fight 2-minute rounds and the men fight 3. Because it's 2 minutes, the women go for it. The men kind of sit back, have a wee prance about, think about it. Whereas the women go for it. It's exciting to watch.
Absolutely. And I think there was another one with the tennis, of course, because the women, you know, they do the 3 sets and the men have the 5 sets. And there's still it was a push, you know, one kid, you know, I think some of the players said we could easily do 5.
Yeah, they could do 5 per, but when it changed the game in boxing, I could do 3 minutes, 5 minutes like I did in the kickboxing, but it makes it exciting. 2 minutes makes it exciting because you're in there and you've got to give it your all, and it's exciting to watch for the people at home. They can see an exciting bout. It's non-stop work rate. Don't know. People ask the question: should it be 3? Should it be 2? But I think it's harder the 2 because you can lose quickly on a 2-minute fight. It's over quick. You can lose a round very quickly.
Yeah, you have to get out there.
It's personal choice, I suppose.
But just a final couple of questions there. You know, I know you love your sports, but what other hobbies have you got outside of sports or anything? Anything going on? In the garden.
Dog, so I do. He's a Samoyed. You call him Ace. I actually dropped him to Mum's last night because I'm going to camp, and it breaks my heart every time I drop him off to pick him up. So I spent a lot of time walking with Ace. Spent a lot of time with two major people in my life, my mum and Maureen McGuinness, are 2 good friends. So we do a lot of movie nights and cinema. I'm not a drinker. I don't really go to nightclubs and discos. I never have been. I just don't feel comfortable. It's not me. I just love being active, going for walks, you know, doing outdoor pursuity kind of stuff. I'm not a big TV person, but love a good film, love cinema.
Absolutely. Well, that's the way to be anyway, Cathy. But no, and of course with the TV, we'll actually have to get our Eurosports sorted now for the 11th of December.
That's right.
We'll make sure we get on to that. But Cathy, you know what, we're just coming to the end of the interview here now. So I just really wanted to say, on behalf of Women in Business, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're so busy. You've got a flight here now this afternoon to head back to camp in England, isn't it?
We better packing. I've got a wee bit of packing to do, a run to do, and then I fly out to my coach John Edwards in Guildford, and that's me with him 3 times a day until the fight night. So it's an isolated, it's a lonely sport because you're out there on your own and you're training and so on. But it's exciting. The journey's exciting, and I'm looking forward to getting out with John and the team and training over the next 2.5 weeks.
I'm sure you are. And we can all follow you probably on your social media and through the website and everything.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty much always on Facebook or Instagram. Kelly's good at pushing me. She said put your training videos up. She's based in Portugal, so every day she likes to see where you are, what you're doing, and she literally gets me to post different wee clips of my training so people can follow what I actually do and how I spend the day. So,
fantastic. Oh, Cathy, we'll be looking forward to it. And just we've got a few messages. There's good luck for the fight, Cathy. So we're all behind you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, Cathy, thank you. Well, we'll let you get on here anyway. And we really, really appreciate your time. And as I say, best of luck. You know, hopefully, you know, you're on this journey. Sometimes you always say it's a journey, it's not a destination. And, you know, you're just going to...
You don't do it what if, you just got to do it and see where it goes and where it brings you. And a lot of people don't because they fear what's going to happen. But my motto in life is just go and do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for having me on, Claire. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Cathy. All the best and good luck. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.